I love the talking amongst yourselves. It's a good sign that we are building community. Um, so I'm going to talk a little bit. Can everybody hear? Okay. Great. I'm going to talk a little bit, and I'll certainly leave room for some questions and comments at the end. If you have a really, really hard question, please ask it just before I'm about to dash off to get in for the 11 o'clock service. I would appreciate that, so thank you. All right. Jesus said, "No one after lighting a lamp puts it under the bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all. It gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven." That is the second slide. No, that's good. That's good. That's where it needs to be. Good. So as we think and pray about moving boldly into the future at Bethesda-by-the-Sea, I keep coming back to these words of Jesus. What I hear in them is a call to let the light of the gospel shine brightly in our hearts, in our parish community, and in the hearts of those beyond our four walls. This light is to be revealed, not concealed. It's to be shared widely, not kept hidden. And yes, this is the designer's mock-up from the tower lighting project that will hopefully be completed in January. The plans are done. It's been fully funded by a generous donor, and the parts have been ordered. That's the slow part. But as much as I love the way that it looks, I really... Hold on a sec. There we go. Is that a little better? Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I really do see lighting up the tower as a metaphor for what we hope to do together in the years ahead, to be a light to everyone we encounter, to be the light of Christ in this community and beyond. The vision I'm casting for Bethesda is rooted in a lot of prayer, a lot of asking questions, and a lot of listening over the past year. It was first presented to the vestry at our spring retreat, and following some deep and faithful feedback and conversation, it's been evolving ever since. Indeed, we've already taken steps to begin its implementation. Many of you have already seen this as we've started some new program initiatives and have been working to redefine and clarify some staff positions that will better support the vision. But of course, no successful vision can be exclusively the domain of one person or one small group of people. It must be a shared vision for it to become infused with the Holy Spirit and take life. In other words, it can't just be my vision. It must be our collective vision. And so it is with deep joy and profound hope for our future that I share this vision with you. Ultimately, the vision for Bethesda is rooted in two pillars. That's not one of them. Seeing Bethesda as a spiritual oasis and seeing Bethesda as a beacon of hope. By embracing Bethesda's identity as a place of healing, which is the literal meaning of the word Bethesda, place of healing, our entire campus can be a spiritual oasis where parishioners and visitors are drawn on Sundays and throughout the week for inspiration and transformation. By standing as a light in the darkness, by offering grace and compassion to a broken, hurting, and deeply divided world, Bethesda serves as a beacon of hope, both in this community and beyond. Everything that we aspire to do and be fits into one of these two categories. But the first thing to recognize is that any vision for the future must be rooted in who we are as a parish community. Bethesda-by-the-Sea has long been a spiritual anchor here. It is a special place with deep history, cherished traditions, and parishioners committed to knowing Jesus and making a difference in the world. We are called to love and serve, and we do that in so many ways. So what makes Bethesda unique? Well, countless things, but for many people, it's our transcendent architecture, our inspiring grounds, cathedral-style worship in the Anglican choral tradition, liturgy that is dignified and reverent, but not stuffy, relatable and relevant preaching, the ability to take our faith but not ourselves too seriously, robust formation programs, the Flower Guild, Boar's Head. Yeah. Can I get an amen? Yeah, thanks, Beth. Empty bowls, the church mouse, the blessing of the animals, just to name a few. What else would you add to this list? There must be others. You can yell it out. St. Mary's Guild, the Koi Pond, Outreach, Daughters of the King, Adult Formation, Men of Bethesda, Sandwich Making, Port Ministry, Pilgrimages, Bible Study, Middle Way, Book Group, Altar Guild, Hope for a Children's Choir. Okay, aspirational. What else? I heard EFM like 18 times. St. George's, yep. Curcio. Shepherds. I mean, the list really does go on and on. That's a great photo, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. Which one's the church? I get mixed up sometimes. But, yeah. But embedded in the idea of seeing Bethesda as a spiritual oasis is the concept of growth. Why is church growth a priority? We don't want Bethesda to grow just so there are more people around to share the financial burden, or because it's nice to see more people in the pews on Sunday mornings, though both are worthy goals. We want the church to grow because it is a gospel mandate to share the good news of the gospel widely and broadly. We have been entrusted with the good news of Jesus Christ, and it is our responsibility, as I like to say, to share it, not hoard it. And it's important to recognize that church growth transcends numeric growth or financial growth. It is also about growing and deepening our individual and collective spiritual lives. It is about growing in our relationship with Jesus Christ. So when I talk about Bethesda as a spiritual oasis, I'm talking about drawing people to our campus. We have so much to offer here, and it is my deepest desire to share it broadly by embracing a culture of invitation and radical hospitality. It's why we're having conversations about reimagining the bookshop as a midweek hospitality hub at the center of our campus. It's why we recently improved our signage. It's great that our front doors of the church are open during the week, but so many people I talk to wandering around here have no idea that they're actually welcome inside those doors. It's why we put together a communications committee and hired a communications coordinator to help us share the amazing programs and concerts and services that happen here with the wider world. It's why we're working to retool the website to be more welcoming to potential newcomers. This summer, we added a what to expect page with information about what we believe and what you should wear and where you should park, along with a Bethesda vocabulary list that decodes words like narthex and garth and guildroom. Actually, that may fall into the heading of coming soon, but it is coming. You know, I love the the welcoming ministry of our Sunday morning ambassadors. But it's important to remember that we are all ambassadors, each one of us. An ambassador of welcome, an ambassador of invitation, an ambassador of compassion, an ambassador of seeking and serving Christ in all persons, whether that's in our interactions with newcomers, fellow parishioners, visitors, community members, or people taking pictures in the garth. We are all ambassadors of Bethesda. The thing is, people exist on a very wide continuum of faith. As a church, it is our mission and our responsibility to draw people ever deeper into the life of Christ. For some, that will look like coming to church every week and joining the altar guild. For others, it will mean stopping by the church on a Thursday morning to feed the fish. And literally everything in between. Our role is to invite people, welcome people, be hospitable to people, share the message of God's love, and trust that God will inspire them and touch them through their encounter with us. So what are some specific tools that will allow us to accomplish this? We have created the Bethesda Center for Spirituality, which will offer a wide variety of programs to meet people wherever they may be on their spiritual journey. The BCS is an umbrella for our adult education offerings, and it will use our campus as a gathering place to move people deeper in their relationship with Jesus through ancient practices that touch body, mind, and spirit. It will be through the BCS that we offer spirituality workshops and invite speakers like our upcoming Advent retreat with Chip Stokes, the recently retired Bishop of New Jersey and a former associate priest at Bethesda. In time, it will offer everything from classes on centering prayer to yoga to art classes. I'm really excited about this initiative and can't wait to see how it all unfolds in the year ahead. I'll highlight one new initiative that falls under the aegis of the BCS. In late January, we will offer the 8-week Alpha course on Monday nights. Alpha is a program out of the Church of England that invites people who are curious about Christianity to explore the deep questions of faith in an open, non-judgmental way. There's a shared meal, a video presentation, and then small group conversation. Who's the target audience for Alpha? Well, it's open to current parishioners, of course, and I hope a number of you will participate in it, especially as we experience it for the first time in a couple months. But it's really meant for people beyond our walls who may not know much about Christianity, but are asking the deep questions that are part of the human condition. We want people to know Jesus, to be transformed by the peace and joy that really only comes through the life of faith, to show that there is more to life than what we see on the surface. And it is programs like Alpha that will ensure Bethesda remains relevant and vibrant as church attendance plummets all around us. And just as a side note, the costs associated with this program have been underwritten by a parishioner for the next 3 years, which is just one example of how generosity coupled with faith can make a major impact around here. The bottom line is, if you have an idea, talk to me. Another critical piece of the vision, again related to growth, is investing in ministry with children and youth. We have some amazing and committed families here at Bethesda, along with a number of faithful and talented volunteers. And we have a solid foundation of ministry with children and youth, but we can do better. We must do better in order to offer programs and events to attract families with young children, many of whom have recently moved to the area. This is essential to our future. In order to make this happen, in a very tight budget season, we have secured a 5-year matching grant to hire a family ministry coordinator whose sole focus will be on ministry with our youngest parishioners and their families. I haven't found the right person yet to take on this role, but we're actively working on this. And if you want to participate in this match to help us make this position a reality, please do let me know. Passing on our faith to the next generation is one of our highest callings as a parish. Again, if we imagine a future church, we can't give in to the narrative that this area doesn't have any young people. We do, and the population is growing rapidly. Hold on, I need another slug of coffee. Or two. Word about our outreach ministries, which relates to the whole concept of seeing Bethesda as a beacon of hope. In many ways, this is where the spiritual rubber meets the road. When we reach out our hands in love to those in need, we are literally doing what Jesus commanded us to do. We have pulled together a vibrant and passionate outreach committee to look at what we have done in the past, what we are currently doing, and what we hope to do in the future. Everything's on the table. Bethesda has always made a big impact in the local community. We're dreaming about ways to make an even bigger difference in the world, perhaps through a signature outreach effort, something that when people think of Bethesda, they think of this particular thing, a way to focus our efforts and blend both check writing ministry with hands-on ministry. After meeting for the better part of a year, we just held our first outreach summit to do some big picture visioning, and I'm excited to see what the Spirit has in mind for outreach at Bethesda in the years to come. Stay tuned. In the end, my experience, there are really only two paths. That's a great picture too. I didn't take it. But in the end, there are really just two paths to creating a vibrant, thriving, and growing parish community. Discipleship, just being shaped by Jesus' call to love God and love neighbor. And evangelism, which is sharing the good news of the gospel with those beyond our walls. That's what it's all about. And that's what we're looking to live into in the years ahead. To realize our fullest potential as a parish will take intentionality, boldness, increased financial generosity, and ultimately deep faith. There will be some growing pains along the way. We'll try some things that don't stick. But in the end, we will build upon the bedrock of tradition that has made Bethesda such a special and holy place for so many generations, and trust that the Holy Spirit will lead us into so much more than we can ask for or imagine. That's the hope. That's the faith. That's the vision. And I am overjoyed to join you on this journey. So before I take some questions and comments, I did want to say a word about two things: personnel and the budget. In order to fully implement our vision, we need the staffing in place in order to support it. We have an incredibly gifted and talented staff at Bethesda who have done a tremendous job amid a tremendous amount of transition over the past few years. And when it comes to staffing, we are still in a period of transition. Over the summer, we redefined some staff positions to make sure our current needs were being met and that people were in the positions that best allowed them to thrive. Our parish administrator, Joe Sinelli, has been among us for 7 months or so, and I continually give thanks for his energy, his passion, and his willingness to leap always into the breach to get things done. And we can clap for Joe. And there is a lot to be done. But hiring Joe was a critical piece of this puzzle. It is a joy to serve with so many gifted clergy colleagues. I have discerned that we really do need 3 full-time clergy here, but we're holding it together with 2.5 for now, and we'll continue with that. We recently made 2 new hires, with Beth Glass serving as our receptionist and bookkeeper. And that bookkeeper position was new but desperately needed to help our financial team. And Marissa Holliday is now our communications coordinator. Marissa's actually here. Go wave. There's Marissa. And as you probably know, communications is a passion of mine. And to me, there is nothing more important than someone in this role who can help us spread our message both internally and externally in vibrant and creative ways. There are 2 staff positions that are essential for us moving forward, but that I haven't been able to find the right person. Now, the first one I alluded to earlier. We need a dynamic, faithful family ministry coordinator to help take our programs for children and youth to new heights. And I've been trying hard with a small committee to hire the right person as director of stewardship and fundraising. A church this size does need a full-time fundraiser on staff. Someone who will help us manage our annual campaign, our planned giving efforts, memorial gift opportunities, and help get us on track for the next inevitable capital campaign. It's a big job, but it's also one that I am convinced will pay for itself in short order once we find the right person. If you know of anyone who might be a good fit for this, please do let me know. Which leads us to the budget. One of my favorite topics. Maybe consider this a foretaste of the stewardship season that is to come. But I have also promised that I will always be transparent about parish finances. And the reality is that we need annual giving to go up 15% next year. That doesn't sound like too much, but in real numbers, that's $500,000. In order to support the vision moving forward and tap into all the energy and excitement that's building here over the last year, we do need your help. It won't be easy, but it's certainly achievable in this community. If you believe in Bethesda, if you care about what's happening here, and if you're as excited about the future of this place as I am, we can do this with both your prayers and your generosity. Now, the reasons for this increase are several-fold. We've annualized some positions. Costs continue to rise everywhere. Everything's just more expensive. I mean, you see it. You throw healthcare expenses into the mix, and we're looking at about a 6% rise just from that across the board. And we need to proactively continue to put the right staffing in place to support our vision moving forward. And just as a reminder, we don't have some massive endowment here that pays for everything. I think there's sometimes a perception that a big fancy church in Palm Beach doesn't really need much money. But annual pledges account for 60% of our operating budget, and other gifts and event revenue make up another 10%. So about 70% of our budget is funded by parishioners and visitors. Now, there'll be plenty of time to talk about all of this in January, but that's just the reality of where we are right now. So I would love to hear your reactions to anything that I've shared or answer any questions, and I appreciate you all being here. Hi, Barry, you got a question? Oh, what's that noise?
Wait. Bookstore.
Sorry. Say again.
Can you tell me if there's any plans for the bookstore?
There are indeed. We have a small committee that is looking at that space, and we've really discerned that we would like to have 3 things in there. So a curated selection of books, some gifts, things that people would actually buy, and some Bethesda branded items. So So that, but more than that, and I kind of think we probably need um, a very part-time manager of it. So if you know of anyone, but that's kind of the externals. What it really is going to be, hopefully, is a hospitality hub on the center of this campus. So we really want it to be a place where during the week and on Sundays people can come, they can gather, they can ask questions. We would have people in there that would be able to welcome visitors and ask them if they've seen the koi pond, or remind them that, oh, please come into the church, and all of these kind of things. Maybe even tell them about our Sunday services. So all of that is what. Of course, my fantasy is to have coffee in there too.
I did have a second part to that, real quick. These pictures that you've shown, especially the aerial view, I know that would sell here. It'd be a way to generate money. I would buy a lot of those. So if we could maybe have that as part of what is sold in
Yeah,
there.
no, that's a great thought. I found that on the internet, if I'm honest. So I have to figure out who actually took that drone picture, and can we have the rights to it? But absolutely, these Bethesda. I mean, people love this place. They love, and I think about the. What is the most iconic thing that everybody knows? They know our tower with the two palm trees. That's what they know, and so that's what makes us stand out. And and they know koi. I was talking to Brenna. Brenna wants to sell those like plush koi toys. I don't know, but who knows? They would sell. Everybody's grandchild needs one. Other questions or comments? Wendy. There's a don't send. Joe has a microphone here.
Thank you. It's hard to sit on my hand the whole time, but I would just, for all of us, want to welcome you and thank you for being amongst us. We have so much positive energy here that's growing weekly, and people are excited, and we've needed a leader for a while. We've given you lots of ideas. There are lots more to come and ways to support you, but we're really grateful that you're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. I appreciate that very much, and we both love being. Brent, where's Brenda? She's here somewhere. Oh, there she. Oh, you're in the back. Oh my goodness. But and one other thing I just would say is there is so much giftedness in this congregation, and to me, lay ministry is so vital to a thriving congregation. And so I just continue to want to encourage lay involvement, lay ministry. I just want this to be unleashed. I mean, there is. So if you have ideas about things, or a group that you'd like to start, or any, let me know. I mean, it's got to fit within the mission of the church. I mean, there's certain things that may not work, but I want to support that. And this is, for me, this is when the Holy Spirit gets in there and things really start to happen, when it bubbles up. And so I love that. Yeah.
I want to compliment the church on something. I've been around the discussion of signage for years and years and years. And as an usher, it's always hard to direct people. So we love the new signage. But most importantly, Jim got it done. Joe got it done. And I was here earlier this week, and the most lovely couple was walking up the sidewalk. I said, "Oh, hello." They said, "Oh, we just saw the sign that we're welcome to come in." And they were so lovely, and they were just walking down the street. And so they came in, and I directed them to the sanctuary and back to the garden. And then I saw them a little bit later, and they're like, "Oh, thank you so much." And they felt welcomed. And it was because of the signage welcoming them.
You were acting as an ambassador. Thank you. Harry. Hold on, we got the microphone. The the question is, how
How many
how many
practitioners do we have in the
how
church?
many congregants do we have at Bethesda? Is that that is a great mystery that really God alone has the answer to. It's hard to say. I mean, I think we probably have what 1,200 families, maybe, or something like that in our directory. Well, pledging units. There's the gap. I think we have about 350 pledgers, families and individuals who pledge. So there's that. But again, membership is always this strange, slippery slope, or not slope, but it's a little bit slippery because what does it mean to be a member? Is it someone who comes every week? Is it someone who's on the one Sunday a month plan? Is it someone who comes just on Christmas? It's really it's at Christmas and Easter, right? Yeah, sometimes just Christmas. So these are one of the things. I mean, I always think about membership in this way as kind of a concentric circles, right? And we're always trying to draw people deeper into the life of faith and deeper into the life of the church. And so it's hard to map it. The one visible metric that you can look at is average Sunday attendance, which of course doesn't tell the story about impact on whether it's Wednesdays or midweek, but we can look at average Sunday attendance, and that's certainly been going up. And I think you noticed that in the pews. I kept waiting for the throughout the summer. I kept waiting for the massive drop off when you walk in and there's like 25 people there, but it never happened. And if you watched on the live stream from afar, you were probably like, why are these people still here? So, yeah. Yes.
I'm going to piggyback on the accolades. So I'm a kind of sort of attending over the last few years every once in a while. And now my daughter is part of the choir. So my children grew up in a Lutheran church, which they tried to be welcoming, but they weren't. Both of my children identify with LGBTQ community.
Mm-hmm.
And they came here and they love it here. They love seeing Stuart in a position of power to them. That's huge. Like, you guys don't understand. That is huge. Mm-hmm. So thank you for what you're doing, because you brought my teenage children back to the church, because they told me they were atheists after that. Mm. And guess who attends almost every Sunday with a friend? So good job.
Thank you. And of course, when we talk about the church being a beacon of hope, we want it to reflect God's love. We want this to be a safe place, an inclusive place, and that's non-negotiable.
Lynn McLaughlin. I was a greeter at Grace Cathedral, San Francisco for many years, where David and I were members. The greeters occasionally would actually stand out on the steps and welcome people. And how often people just hit you with a painful question. And the question was, is it okay if I go in? Most people are intimidated by a church. And that, plus what denomination, what do you talk about in there? What's it like? They're so naive. Anyway, that's welcoming is so important.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I think that's absolutely right. And I think one of the things that we have here at Bethesda is an amazing team that live streams the services. And that's how people, before stepping foot into the place, can see what this place is all about. And I think that's important. Yes, Denny.
What I would like to see happen or come back again, I would love to see the women of the church, the ECW, come back and start doing more in this. And because our last director more or less just dished it out. But the women have fundraising. They can help in so many different ways. And I've shown my age when we used to have the spring festival. We didn't raise a lot of money, but 35,000, that was a little piece of money. So I would love to see the women get back involved more than what's happened to them. And I just really like to see it.
Thank you. And I will say that, ECWs started because women weren't allowed into positions of leadership, like the vestry. Thankfully, they certainly are now, and I know that the St. Mary's Guild is very active. But thank you for that.
Yes, may I have a comment, like a specific instance and also a general, bigger picture? Specific instance is last night, Saturday night, a friend of mine said, oh, she's going to a candlelight concert at Bethesda, your church. I said, really? And I looked up the website, there was no mention at all. And I figured maybe it was a event that's organized by an outside party and not sponsored by the church. And I think it was. But a comment is that maybe perhaps we would post it, but then we would notate, we would post it on the website, but notate that it's not sponsored by the church, and then we would have the name of the organization, just so that other people who are attending the concert or plan to in the future would know about Bethesda-by-the-Sea, and not just the other organizer. That's like a specific instance.
Yeah.
And then a bigger picture comment, if I may, also add to the suggestion to make our church and the beautiful facilities that we have more accessible to a wider audience. We can take a page from the Norton Museum. A couple of years ago, the new director came, and even though he's French, and I had an image of French people as very elitist and aristocratic, but then he wanted to make one of his missions is to make the museum accessible to all demographics, and with their programming and other things they really did increase the participation. So I'm a member there, and I'm happy to share ideas on what various things they did. Of course, not all of it applicable to our church, but a lot of it would be helpful.
Thank you. Always open to new ideas about how we can make this place even more welcoming. A word about the candlelight concert. So this was we opened the church to this organization that does these candlelight concerts, and this is as with many things, you throw some things up and you see what sticks. So they had a string quartet in there doing Vivaldi or whatever it was. And how many candles did they have?
About 1,000.
About 1,000 candles. Now they weren't they weren't flames, but they were very they looked like candles, and the church looked amazing. And we're going to one of the reasons that we didn't really advertise this in any way is it's not ours, but B, we wanted to just do it as a test and see how it went. It went amazing. I have some images of this I can share. It looked great, and we also got some ideas like, hey, we could do a few more things with candles in there occasionally. So there will be a few others, and we can certainly let people know. But for this one, we kind of wanted to soft open. Other questions? Oh.
In your first year, what have you found most surprising?
I would say one of the things that I found the most surprising is how drawn our dogs are to iguana poop. They just love that. But in terms of the church, the reason that I'm here, it's not. I mean, the buildings are beautiful, right? The gardens are beautiful. All of that stuff is great. But the reason that I'm here is because of the people. And when I was going through the search process, getting to know the folks on the search committee, and then getting to know people over the last year, it's such a warm, engaging, faithful, fun, fascinating group of people. And so I just didn't quite know the depth of that, and it never ceases to amaze me. Thank you. I know we're getting a little tight here. Gene, did you have a question? It's okay if you don't. I thought I saw your hand.
Not really a question, but an observation. When the wife and I moved to Florida 4 years ago, we began a journey searching for a church. We're both lifelong Episcopalians. And we visited a church. The name will not be revealed. And we were invisible. We were guests in the church, but no one welcomed us. And so we continued the search. We spoke with the bishop's office, and they said, there's a church that we think you will enjoy. And that church was Bethesda. And we arrived on a Sunday morning, and notwithstanding some of the images that this church has outside, we were welcomed profusely. We were presented with flowers. Everyone acknowledged our presence, and everyone indicated that they would like us to become involved. Not just to be fingerprints, but to be participants in the actual operation and the life of the church. And so I've become an ambassador in sharing that image to other persons who look like me. And if you look around here, there are very, very few people who look like me. And the reason for that is that people have not had the experience that we had. And so I think we all have a responsibility to share the true image of the church beyond the walls of this campus. And I would thank each of you for the welcome that we continue to enjoy. And we will be ambassadors to invite more people that look like me.
Thank you, Gene. We certainly have more work to do.
Tell us about your book writing, your storybooks.
My book? What is this? Is this a book? But yeah. Thanks, Tom. Yes. Yeah. Well, so I recently had a book published called "Devotions for People Who Don't Do Devotions." I'm trying to get at that intersection of faith and real life, and I keep thinking, I gotta let people know and we gotta do a book event or something like that. Then I thought, well, once we kind of reopen the Reimagine bookshop, that would be the perfect time to do that. So we're a little behind schedule on that, but we will get there. Thank you.
Could you put some in the library and let them circulate?
I could put some in the library. Yes.
And have them circulate. I could check them out.
But then then no one's buying them. No, I'm just kidding. Yes.
I bought 2 copies at Amazon last week, so they're ready at Amazon, and go for it. Thank you.
They are floating around. Yes. All right. I know we're getting close. Do we have one more? Perhaps Maury, you want to close us out? Yeah.
I've been here 38 years, and I had one of the most remarkable experiences I've ever had on Wednesday night at Middleway. When I realized that I was having trouble hearing the conversation at the dinner table because of the number of teenagers and middle schoolers chatting.
Praise God.
And I mean, it was incredible. I haven't seen anything like that in this community ever. So congratulations, Greg and Tim and everyone else.
Right. Thank you. All right. We do have an 11 o'clock service that some of us need to get ready for. But I am so grateful to all of you for coming out and for listening and for participating. And this, I look at all of this as just an ongoing conversation. So we'll keep talking, and God bless you all. Thank you.